Today I'll be showing you how to replace a kitchen faucet. I picked up this new faucet in a stainless steel finish at the local hardware store for only $40. As you can see, my old faucet is corroded, and when I turn it on, it leaks. So I'm going to replace it with a $40 model that is much more modern. The first step is to turn off the water under your sink. There should be two shut-off valves, one for hot and one for cold. If you don't have a shut-off valve under your sink, then you'll have to shut the water off at the main water shutoff. After you shut your water off, make sure it's completely off by opening up the faucet. There shouldn't be any water coming out. There will, however, likely still be water in the lines, so be aware of this later on. Because of the tight space, it's difficult to record. Basically, you'll have to unscrew the nuts that hold the faucet to the sink. A basin wrench is strongly encouraged because of the tight space. Here I'm demonstrating how you'd use the basin wrench to unscrew the nut. After the sink nuts are unscrewed and the water is shut off and you verify that it is shut off, you can now unscrew the faucet supply lines. If you can try to determine which is the hot and which is the cold, this will make it much easier later on. Also, make sure you have a small bucket and towel to direct the water trapped in the supply lines. Once you do that, you can pull the faucet out from the top. Depending on how it was installed, you may have to run a putty knife between the faucet and the sink to free it. Here you can see me squeeze the old faucet, and I'm squeezing the old supply lines as I take it out to make it much easier. Don't do this on your new faucet, but since I'm getting rid of this old one, it doesn't matter if I damage it. I'm just simply squeezing the lines together to make it a little bit easier for me to pull it out of the hole in the sink. Then you'll want to get your new faucet out and read through any installation instructions and get ready to install it. Put the lines through the cover plate and very carefully feed the lines through the hole in your sink. While holding it steady with one hand, I kind of spin it to make sure that it's going to turn how I'd ideally like to end up using it. The sink I purchased has a special rubber gasket on the bottom that creates a watertight seal between the sink and the faucet as the faucet nuts are tightened. If I didn't have this, I would use plumber's putty as shown. You first roll it in your hands and then drape it across the underside so that as you tighten the faucet to the sink, it will ooze out. For demonstration purposes, I'll just show you how to use the plumber's putty, although I'll end up taking it out because I won't need it, and it could actually interfere if you have a rubber gasket like I do. As you secure the faucet, the plumber's putty creates a good contact. The same thing applies with the rubber gasket. Next, you're going to want to attach the faucet to the sink, similar to how you took it off originally, although this model has one valve system underneath with just one nut, shown here. Next, after the faucet is attached to the sink, attach the supply lines to the prospective shut-off valves. Make sure you match the hot with the hot and the cold with the cold. The faucet will come labeled, but if you're unable to determine which supply line is hot or cold, you can take a guess at it and you have a 50% chance of getting it correct. If you guess incorrectly, however, then you're going to have to change it or your hot and cold would be on the opposite sides. After the supply lines are fully connected, slowly turn on one shut-off valve. Look for any leaks. If you don't see any leaks, continue by turning the other shut-off valve on again and look for any leaks. If there are none, then turn the faucet on. Again, look for any leaks coming from the supply lines or the new faucet. If there are no leaks, then congrats, you now have a working faucet. Finally, if your new faucet has a pull-out spray hose, you should have a weight that comes with it. This helps the faucet hose come back in its proper position. The weight usually looks like this, and it's fairly heavy. I'll show you how to install the hose weight using my old faucet hose line, since it's hard to film under the sink. You ideally want to attach the weight just above the lowest point of the curve. This way, when you pull the hose out, the weight will help guide it back into place. They're usually pretty easy to install. This one comes with 2 screws that hold it into place. The unit itself sort of clamps around the hose line, and you simply insert the screw on each side and then screw it in with a screwdriver. Congrats! After this, your sink is all set to go. Try it out and make sure it works like it's supposed to. My sink has an extra hole where the sprayer used to sit. The new faucet has an integrated spray hose, so I no longer need this hole. You have a couple options for fixing this. You could do a soap dispenser, or you could just do a plain cap. Since this is a rental, I'm using a plain cover piece like this one. This is the cheapest way to go and the least amount of hassle. This just simply hides the hole and makes it look a little bit cleaner. If this video was remotely helpful, I would ask that you please like this video, as it helps me tremendously as I'm getting started making videos in real estate and home improvement. Thanks for watching, and congrats on a great way to add some value, convenience, and updates to your kitchen.